Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Amun-Re. This was sent to me by Tasty Minstrel Games and is designed by Reiner Knizia. In the heart of ancient Egypt, you are a pharaoh who seeks to leave his mark on history by building the grandest pyramids. Surpass your opponents by acquiring the best provinces, cultivate fields, and construct pyramids. But remember to send offerings to Amun-Re, for the Nile fertilizes your land. Only then will you become the greatest of all pharaohs. Amun-Re is an auction and optimization game that reveals its depth as the ages of the game progress. Let me show you how to play. So here we have the scenic Nile River, and in Amun-Re you play as Egyptian royalty, and you participate in auctions to acquire provinces, build pyramids, and develop cultures. And the game takes place in two ages, the Old Kingdom and the New Kingdom. Between these two ages, barbarian hordes decimate all farms, and all players will lose controls of their provinces to the sands of time. Only stones and pyramids will remain. Provinces will be auctioned again, and at the end of the New Kingdom, the player with the most victory points will win the game and be crowned the greatest pharaoh. Each player receives 3 scribe pawns, 1 score cube, 20 gold value worth of cards, 1 theft card, and 1 architect's favor card. All the cards have the same back, so you always keep them secret. Now these are province cards, and depending on how many players you play with, you're going to choose a certain number of provinces to play with in the game. It's 3 provinces per player, so if you had 3 players, we would play with 9 provinces. And then these cards are called favor cards, and they can be played during specific phases to give you certain benefits. So like I said before, there are 2 ages, the Old and New Kingdoms. 1 age equals 3 rounds plus 1 scoring phase, and 1 round equals 4 phases: auctioning provinces, purchases and construction, offerings to Amun-Re, and harvest and income. So at the end of the 3rd round of an age, the victory points are counted and scored. So first let's talk about auctioning provinces. Take your province deck and take as many cards as there are players. In this case, 3. So we've got Edfu, Karga, and Dakhla. And we're going to put them in their appropriate spots. So these 3 provinces are going to be auctioned in this phase. Starting with the first player, all players make a bid by placing a scribe pawn on an empty value on the province card of their choice. You may not place a lower bid than a player who is already there. When it is your turn again, you must either pass if your bid is still the highest, or move your scribe to a new bid. So let's say player 1 is going to go, I'm going to bid 3 gold on Dakhla. Put your pawn here, and you're done. Player 2, if they want Dakhla, they got to bid higher than 3. So they could bid, let's say, 6. Or they could bid somewhere on a new province. Let's say they bid on Karga 3. Now let's say player 3 is like, yo, I want Dakhla. They bid 6 on Dakhla. That means on player 1's turn, they have to go somewhere else. Player 1 cannot bid again on the same province. So player 1 could go to Edfu and bid something on there, or go to Karga. Let's say player 1 bids on Edfu 1 gold. As soon as all players have placed a bid and none are contested, they pay their bid and leave their scribe in the province purchased. Then they collect any immediate bonuses. Immediate bonuses are in brown. So this one you would receive a favor card and 12 coins. This one you would receive a favor card, and this one, which is not being used, but you would receive a stone. So now our players have their provinces all picked out. These symbols here mean how many favor cards you can purchase during that phase. This symbol here represents 5 gold received if the current offering has a camel on it, which I'll explain later. And this symbol here is a temple. At the end of each age, each temple will score points for its owner. These slots here are where you can place farmers that you hire. Each farmer earns you income based on offering. So there's a whole lot of different symbols and reasons for why you might want a specific sort of province. Now we move on to phase 2. In this case, purchases and construction. In turn order, you may buy favor cards, then farmers, and then stones. And the cost for those is over here. If you want to buy one of each, if you want to buy 1, you pay 1, 2, you pay 3, 3, you pay 6, and so on. There's a handy chart right here for that. So when it's your turn, you make all your purchases in 1 turn. So player 1 could go, I'll buy 1 favor card. So they pay 1 coin and get a favor card. They could buy 2 farmers with 3 gold. And if they had some more money, they could pay 3 gold for 2 stone. So you have to buy them in that order. You can't buy stones first, then favor cards. You have to buy favor cards, then farmers, then stones. So you have to be careful as to calculating how much each is going to cost. Because if you run out of money before the stones part, you don't get to buy any stones. So everyone in turn makes their purchases, and then if you have 3 stones in a province, let's say Dakla has 3 stones, those stones become a pyramid. Sorry, red guy. Now it's time to make offerings to Amun-Re. The sum of the offerings of the players will determine the height of the Nile flood that turn. The higher the offerings, the higher Amun-Re will raise the level of the Nile, fertilizing your land and subsequently raising income. On the other hand, if the flood is low, Egypt will use caravans, the camel symbols, which are also a source of income. So each player secretly decides how much they're going to offer. So player 1 might offer, let's say, 4 gold. Player 2 might offer 1 gold. And maybe player 3 is sneaky and sneaks in the theft card for their offering. Everyone reveals their bids simultaneously, so 4, 1, and uh-oh, theft. Your total would be 2. If you offer the theft card, you steal 3 gold from the general supply. So looking at our offering tiles here, since the total was 2, that means our offering tile is this one. And this goes over here, right at the Nile. Now, whoever offered the most money gets the biggest reward. So if you offered the most, you would get 3 free objects. It can be favor cards, farmers, or stones in any combination. The second highest offerer would get 2 items. If you gave the theft card, you get nothing. That's the drawback for using the theft card, is you don't get any free stuff at the end of the offerings phase. Whoever offers the most gold becomes the new start player for the next turn. Now it's time for the harvest and income phase. Now, if you had a gold mine symbol, you would automatically get gold for that, but none of these have that. This province, however, has a caravan symbol, and since this offering tile for this turn has a camel on it because the river was low, this person would get 5 gold for that. And then for each farmer you have, depending on how many gold is on here, this farmer would get 1 gold and this guy would get 2 gold. So each farmer generates gold depending on how high this gold symbol is for that turn. So the higher the offering, the more gold farmers generate. But if you have this symbol, you would want it to be lower so you could get the 5 gold and then punish the other players who depend on farmers. So you calculate your gold based on your mines, your caravans, and your farmers, and everyone receives that amount. Now, if this is the end of the first or second round, you begin a new round as normal and continue through those phases again. You would draw new provinces, put the auction cards out, and go through all of that again. Now, after 3 rounds, the age ends, and you add up your victory points. You receive victory points for each of your temples, plus 1 victory point for each pyramid, plus 3 victory points for each pyramid in their province, which contains the fewest pyramids, 5 victory points for the player with the most pyramids on each side of the Nile, on this side and that side, east and west, 3 victory points for each yellow favor card that you fulfill. For example, this one says you have to have all your provinces on the same side of the Nile. They all have different conditions. This one says to put them in either Upper Egypt or Lower Egypt. So you add up all those victory points, and then you advance to your little score cubes along the numbered track. Then, at the end of the first age, you remove all scribes and all farmers, and you return them to the supply. All province cards are taken off the board. The only things that stay on the board are the pyramids and stones that are left in the provinces. And those don't belong to any player. So if you get that province in the next age, you can have those pyramids even if you weren't the ones who built them. Then you would play 3 more rounds of the new age, and then at the very end, you would score victory points again. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most gold actually gets more victory points as well. Plus 6 victory points, whoever has the most, 4 to second place, and 2 to third place. Then at that very end, whoever has the most victory points is the winner. Now, the favor cards add a lot of strategy to the game. For example, these cards can be played during the auction phase. This card is protection and blocks the next highest bid on your specific province card. This one is called bribery, and basically you can move your scribe to a higher position on the same card. Usually you have to move your scribe to a different card when you bid, but this one lets you hop right over them. This card gives you a free farmer during the purchase phase. This card lets you build a pyramid using only 2 stones instead of 3. This card during the offering phase can adjust the total by +3 or -3 depending on what you want. Big Harvest can give you +1 gold per farmer during the harvest phase. And the treasury card, if you're not going to make a lot of money that round, you can forego all of your province income and just get 8 income flat. And that's how you play. So as you can probably tell, Reiner Knizia makes very mathy games, which I enjoy. Maximizing your purchases to make sure you get exactly the right number of farmers and stones that you need is very satisfying to me. It's fun getting like more farmers, because with more farmers you get more income, and with the pyramids it's just like, you know, an investment for victory points later. I don't know if the game feels super thematic, but the gameplay is satisfying, and that's what's most important to me. I mean, there are like elements of like, oh yeah, giving offering and letting the height of the river go up or down. That's pretty thematic. And the pieces are actually quite nice. I think the idea of sweeping the board for the New Kingdom age is very interesting. The pyramids and the stones that are left are kind of almost feel like the reminders of the past, you know. And it also gives you an incentive for the new auctions in the New Kingdom age. Because, hey, there's like 2 pyramids there. Ooh, I'm going to go for that one. It makes it a little more interesting and a little less permanent. Like, even if you build like 4 pyramids or whatever, in the new age, those aren't yours necessarily anymore. And if anything, people are going to be gunning for that province. With the yellow favor cards, the ones that are like, hey, only build on the west side of the Nile, or only build bordering the river or outside of the river. I don't know if those work necessarily, because it can be so difficult to get the right stuff for auctioning. And sometimes, depending on the province cards that are pulled, you have to get one that's on the west side, because all 3 are on the west side. So I don't know if those work necessarily. We played with 3 people. I'm sure with 5 people it would work much better, but that was just one thing I noticed that was kind of wonky. There aren't any mechanics here that necessarily blew me away, but as an area control an auction game, it's extremely tightly and well designed. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Could be a little more thematic, but overall it's a very good game. I would recommend.